Looking at Chapter 8, Lesson 8, we're looking at special products. And basically what this is yes, you still can use the FOIL method, the square of a sum, and what that basically means is you have a situation like this right here. Basically you have a plus b, that quantity squared. You can do a shortcut at that point. And if you want to do that, then you would be looking at something like this. So, a situation of that nature would be if you had something as in t plus 5 squared. The formula right here tells you that you take the first piece of that binomial. So it would be t, and you square it. So you're going to get t squared. Then, at the end, you have b squared. So you take what's over here, and you square it. So you'd get plus 25. Now the interesting piece is in the middle. This plus 2ab that you see happening here. This is where you take whatever was the first part of the binomial, multiply it by the second part, and then you would multiply by 2. So it's 2 times t times 5. And you'd put that in the middle. So you'd get plus 10t. So that's what you call the square of the sum. Alright, the second one is the square of the difference. Very similar to the square of the sum. You square the first part of the binomial, you square the second part of the binomial. The middle part, instead of being a plus 2, is going to be a negative 2. So, an example of that is going to be example B here. Notice that we have a squared. So we take whatever is the first part, which was the 3g. So we say 3g, we square it, and we get 9g squared. We take the second part of the binomial, which is 8, and we square that. You can see where they say b squared, the second part, we have 8 squared, and we get 64. The interesting piece is that middle piece here, the negative 2ab. So we have negative 2 times the 3g, which was the first part of the binomial, multiplied by the 8, and that's where we get negative 48g. Square of the sum. Again, what they basically said was if you take the first part, the middle part, and the last part, that's the shortcut formula. Whatever a and b are. So, we have a plus 9b, that quantity squared. The first thing we have is a, so we're going to get a squared. The second part that we have is 9b. That's going to come over here. So we get 9b squared. Well, 9 squared is 81. B is b squared. So we get 81b squared. The middle portion is 2, whatever the first part was in that binomial. That was just an a. So 2 times a. The b is the second thing that's in that binomial, which was 9b. So 2 times a times 9b. That gives you, well, we have to put a nice plus sign there, a nice addition sign. So we have 2 times 9 is 18ab. And there is your simplified. And we will take number 2. We have c minus 5d, that is squared. I want to take the first thing and square it. I want to take the second thing and square it. So I have negative 5 times negative 5. That gives you positive 25 d squared. So now we have the thing in the middle. And that's going to be, and again, if you get stuck, you can always look back at your rule. It says it's going to be negative 2 times a times b, whatever that is. So if you get stuck at that, you can look at your example. We have down here, you can see where things are placed in. We have a positive 3g going in, and we have an 8, and the negative is there. So let's go back. This is going to be minus 2ab. So the c squared is still c squared. Negative 2 times a, which was the letter c. The b location is 5d. So we put 5d plus 25d squared. All right. So we have to simplify this thing in the middle. So we have c squared minus 10cd plus 25d squared. So we have 8s plus 8t squared. Now remember, the formula said whatever's in the first location, square it. Whatever's in the second location, square it. And in the middle, 2 times the first times the second. So we have 8s being squared, 2 times 8s times whatever's in the second location, that would be 8t, plus whatever's in the second location, the quantity of 8t squared. All right, so now we simplify. 8s squared, 64s squared. Go over to the end. We have 8t squared. That's going to be 64t squared. In the middle, I have 2 times 8 times 8. Well, it'll be easy to go 8 times 8 is 64. Double that is 128 st. Be very careful when you have your t's that they don't look like your addition signs. All right, so there's your simplified statement. Now, let's go back to the beginning, and we'll look at the difference of squares. The formula says, right here, that you're going to do the FOIL, but notice that you have this going on. You have a negative and a positive. You're going to add b and then subtract b. So that means it basically cancels out. So in the end, realistically, all you have to do is put that in place. If we look at one of the examples, we have down here in example D, we use the difference of squares. So we notice in the first binomial, we have 6y plus 9y squared. We're going to multiply by 6y minus 9z squared. The formula is right here, a squared minus b squared. What's in place of a squared? Well, it's going to be 6y. That's why they put 6y right below it. What's in the second part of the binomial? Well, that's going to be 9z squared. So they put it here. So 6y times 6y gives you the 36y squared. The 9 squared is 81. The z squared squared is z to the 4th. So that's your simplified answer. So with this one, if you notice that you have a plus and a subtraction in the FOIL procedure, it's called the difference of squares. You simply can use the shortcut that's right here, a squared minus b squared. If you want to see another example of it, over here in example C, it says use the difference of squares. So here's the quick shortcut. A squared minus b squared. What was in A? Here's A, 4x. So they put it down here. What's in the B location? A 7. So they put it over here. Well, 4x squared is 16x squared. 7 squared is 49. And you just have a subtraction in the middle of it. That's it. All right. If you have any questions, please